Hey everyone, Adam Shaw here from Brewery Media Company. Today we've got another vintage map for you guys. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded, but I'm back. I'm doing this video because someone on our channel made a request for Roanoke, Virginia area maps, and we had this nice bird's eye perspective map, and I thought it'd be nice to do this video. If you're new to the channel, definitely give us a subscribe. We fulfill vintage map and history videos requests. We like to do this sort of thing all the time. So definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel. Our channel is getting really big. We're at 350 uploads almost. And we're almost at 1,000 subscribers. So definitely check out our channel. Leave a comment below if you have any requests or you have any questions on this Roanoke map. We're going to dive into this bird's eye perspective map. It's a three-dimensional kind of look-see at the city of Roanoke. We're going to dive right in. But before we do, let's kind of give a background history to Roanoke, Virginia. That being said, the area was not known as Roanoke as it is today. It was essentially the first name that came to this area was established in 1852 as Big Lick. Very weird name, Big Lick. It was largely named that because it contained large outcroppings of salt, which attracted nearby wildlife to the area. About 30 years later, in 1882, the town would be renamed what we know today as Roanoke, and 2 years later, in 1884, it would be chartered officially. Now, if we look at the name Roanoke, the etymology, the background of that name, it is believed to have derived from the Algonquian word for shell, which was a form of currency for the native people in the area. Coincidentally, the Roanoke River, if you look on the map, you see the river right here, the Roanoke River that runs through Roanoke, Virginia, and of course it's named Roanoke River. It runs 300 miles southeast of this site. And if you follow the river all the way down to where it empties out into the ocean, you find Roanoke Island. Very interesting that that island is named Roanoke Island, and you have that connection with the river. If you can go back into history, I don't know how familiar you guys are with Roanoke Island. The island was to be the newly acquired and permanent settlement in the Americas for the English in the 16th century. But the colonists, when they arrived, okay, so they were there, they completely vanished. I mean, just gone without a trace, which today we refer to as the Lost Colony. And actually, the first native-born person of European descent was born Virginia Dare on that island. So I think that's kind of a nice little background to the name Roanoke and kind of figuring out that kind of the beginnings of America were kind of born on that island, and it stemmed up that river up to Roanoke, Virginia. I thought that I needed to include that. Even though, if we go look at Roanoke, Virginia, even though the area had a name with Algonquian roots, there were no natives that spoke that language. Instead, languages spoken in the area included, I hope I pronounce these right, Siwan, Tutelo, and Catawban, and Cherokee. Those were kind of the Native American tribes that spoke those languages there. Throughout the colonial era, Roanoke was situated in a predominantly important location that really facilitated as a transportation hub. What is known as the Great Wagon Road was essentially the most popular traveled road in the 18th century America, and was a trail/roadway running from Philadelphia to the city of Roanoke. So you had a nice port city, and this trail road was direct access to this point. Branching out from the Great Wagon Road in the Roanoke area was also the Wilderness Road. So you had another road, the Wilderness Road, which ran southwest to parts of Tennessee. Later throughout Roanoke's history, a civil engineer named Frederick Kimball would work to improve the new Shenandoah Valley Railroad area. The junction for the railroad line was selected by Kimball and his board members to be the site of Roanoke today, which had other rail lines connected. For instance, Norfolk, Virginia. Norfolk, along the coast of Virginia, was also another big port town. And then you had a rail line essentially going directly to Roanoke. So you had all these different sectors from east to west to north that really just kind of condensed into this little area. So basically they selected this junction. The citizens of Roanoke were so thankful for Roanoke being chosen as the junction that they actually offered to rename what was previously known as Big Lick, and they wanted to name it to Kimball in honor of that civil engineer. Though he actually, Frederick Kimball actually said, you know what, just name it after the river that's nearby. That was Roanoke, and they chose to name Roanoke that way. The Norfolk rail line really, over time, really increased Roanoke's population and the amount of manufacturing jobs. I mean, it really sparked economic growth throughout the city, and it got to the point where people actually nicknamed the city Magic City. So I thought that was important to kind of include that kind of background to the city of Roanoke. Let's dive in, kind of explore and examine this old map. We can see that it's a bird's eye perspective. We've got a three-dimensional look-see of the city. We've got numbered locations on top of buildings, and we'll actually investigate which numbers correspond to what building. We can see the rail lines. I mean, look how predominant these railways are. And we can actually see the labeling of these railways, where they go. I thought that was... I've seen this map briefly, but if... You remember when we talked just previously, just a couple seconds ago, about Norfolk? Look at this. Norfolk, a rail line, is illustrated right here, and we can see the rail line extending. And these are obviously manufacturers or some kind of industrial production facilities. Because, I mean, look at the smokestacks, and they're along the railways. You can see the rail cars on it as well. We zoom out, maybe we can get some... Is this line labeled right here? I think this is the part of the Norfolk line. We've got another railroad. We've got a rail... let's see, R&S Railroad right here. We've got the Roanoke and Southern Railroad. Yeah, right here. So, I mean, they weren't lying when when it said that, I mean, this was a big transportation hub. And the fuel to the city was really its proximity to the railroad system. If we look, we can also see on this map street views of various buildings that they felt were important on this Roanoke, Virginia map. See here at the bottom left, General Offices, Norfolk and Western Railroad. So we can see, very important, that Norfolk line. Very, very important. You see that right there. See people and horse buggies. You can see, look, a railroad car right there. Very cool. We have that. We've got the city courthouse, public school. You can see children playing. I love these street view perspectives. I mean, especially for 1891, you get to see the architecture, and you get to see what was happening around these buildings. I mean, I do metal detecting videos for people. I mean, look at this. Right here, Commercial National Bank. We can see where people were hanging out. You know, maybe not necessarily where people were hanging out, but we can see where rail cars were going. And this gives us an idea, I mean, possible metal detecting investigation sites. Right? Where activity was on streets. So here's Fidelity Building, Academy of Music, Terry Building. I mean, just really an amazing amount of detail. If we look at some of the manufacturers, I wanna go into some of these industries that are off in the distance, especially maybe also by the Roanoke line. So we got the Roanoke Webster line right here. I want to investigate that. There's 26 right here. Let's kind of look at what that is. Roanoke Iron Company, 200-ton furnace, muck, bar mill, and plate mill. Cool. Producing iron. So, is it possible that they were extending the railroad and that this was the iron that was going to branch out from Roanoke? Very good possibility. And we can see 26, there's 2 sites labeled right here. So this, we can see the 2 different facilities. Let's look at 52. This was on the Roanoke belt. So you can see Roanoke Development right here. And it's very close to an ironworks. Fascinating. 50 and 51. Let's see if those have anything to do with possible railroad works. Uh-oh. Where are we? Roanoke Blanket Mills. Roanoke Self Hardware. Okay, so maybe not. Pretty vague on those assumptions. We've got hardware. I mean, it's a very good... I don't know what they mean by blanket. That could be hardware. But I know that they're working on, works right here. And it's convenient that a hardware installation would be very close to an ironworks. Very close proximity. 43. And this is all by, this is interesting. This is all by the river as well. If you recognize the to cool down the iron, right next to a water supply. 43. Let's look up what 43 is. Bridgewater Carriage Company of Roanoke. So a carriage company. That's interesting. Right over here, Roanoke Belt Railroad. Look at this. We got electric streets. So this is this an electric rail car? Very quite possibly. That would extend into... Yep. Yeah, this is an electric rail car running along Campbell Ave in Roanoke. And it went all the way... I want to say... Yeah, it went across this bridge. It went all the way to the factories. Over here, carriage companies, ironworks. Over here, the hardware. That's interesting. Considering that there could be people commuting from downtown Roanoke to those manufacturers. That's interesting. I mean, there's so much information contained on this. It's amazing. Let's look at 4. These are probably more public buildings, municipalities. Let's look at 4. This is really close to a major railroad depot. We'll look up what 25 is. 4. A Roanoke Opera House. We've got public buildings right here. The lower numbers, if you look at on a lot of these bird's eye perspective maps, the lower numbers tend to be municipal buildings that are open to the public, courthouses, etc. That looks like a 5 right here. Let's see what that is. That is the Roanoke Fire Department. The Roanoke Fire Department on Jefferson Street. Very close to an opera house. Now 6, I already looked at this earlier. I know this just from remembering it. That's the city jail right there. So you have the firehouse by Jefferson, right across from it. That's the city jail. 6 and 15 is right next to that. See, there's 6, city jail. What's 15? It was right next to the jail. You're kidding me. A hotel. Is that right? 16 or 15? Hotel Brunswick is 15. Lee Hotel is 16. You're kidding me. Wow. Brunswick Hotel right next to the jail. Next door to the jail. That's fascinating. Why would you put a hotel next to a jail? I have no idea. Here's 2. I'm pretty sure that's a courthouse. It looks like a courthouse to me. Let's look. Yep, city courthouse. Right there. Just lots of locations. 6? That looks like a 6. What do you guys think? That's 4. We see, actually, that might be a 41. But we see the 4. We know we had an opera house over here. I don't think that's an opera house. Looks like a 48. We got a 48 right here. Let's see what that is. That's a paper bag factory. Where do we see 48? Right here. Paper bag factory. Okay, so when we went, it said that there are lots of different manufacturers, lots of jobs, and it really grew. I mean, a paper bag manufacturer, I mean, that's pretty diverse for manufacturing. Like, you got a paper bag company, and you got hardware and ironworks. Very, very interesting. We'll investigate some of those right over there, those industries over here. Let's look at 25. That's a depot of some sort. Oh, where are you, 25? Roanoke Machine Works. Okay, so it wasn't a depot. It's a machine works. So this is an industry right here. Machine works. So, I mean, are they generating rail cars? Very good possibility. Let's see what 25 is. Actually, no, we just looked up 25. I mean, they got to be generating rail cars. They're all over the place here. Right here, right here, right here. Yeah. Several facilities. Look at this. That's interesting. Huh. Let's look at 34. Let's look at 34. Virginia Brewing Company. We got a brewery. Very close to that. Where do we see that? Oh, right here. Next to the rail line. Man, they need to get beer out. So brewery right here. Let's see what street. It looks like Nichols Street. Nichols Street right here. It's very close to Nichols. Even the electric railway. This looks like an electric railway right here. Ran very close to the brewery. Again, places of work that people needed to go, and yeah, industry. 27. Another steel and iron company. Steel was kind of hard to manufacture. Well, I'm trying to think of Carnegie. Steel and iron. Iron was hard to manufacture. Carnegie figured out a better way. I'm not sure what years they figured out how to better produce steel. But that's interesting that we can see a mixture of steel and iron being produced over here. And just plain old iron being produced over there. That's fascinating to me. So, I mean, this map is just... we can make so many hypotheses about history. There's just so much information on the building, its location, its proximity to other buildings. Man, I don't know why historians aren't using these maps. I guarantee you there is not a historian out there that is in-depthly looking and investigating documents, city planning with these maps. And man, we could... I think these maps are invaluable to uncovering our past and how history really formed. So, I just wanted to share you that map for request. I'm going to message the person that I did this map. If you have any requests for any other maps, please leave a comment below. Give us a like. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We do videos like these all the time where we investigate old maps and we talk about history. So if you like that sort of thing, definitely subscribe to us. Like this video, share this video. We're getting bigger. We're getting to almost 1,000 subscribers. I'm going to do something special for that. And I will see you guys soon. Everyone, take care. All right, bye now.